Hey, it's Tuesday, June 1st, and you're watching The Great Lost Rewatch. Today I'm talking about the series finale of Lost, The End. It was awesome. I loved it. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I love everything about Lost, but I kind of do. I really liked the way it ended. Leslie and I have always joked that when we die and go to heaven, we want to share a cushy cloud in heaven forever, and that's kind of how I feel Lost ended. All the people that were important to Jack moved on to whatever's after life together. I like thinking that there's a happy ending for everybody. So the things that I liked about this episode is that they didn't cheapen our Lostie's experience on the island by negating it, by saying, oh, it was all purgatory. It wasn't. It was not all purgatory. Just at the end of the story, they all came back together and moved on to the afterlife together. What happened on the island happened on the island. And I'm so glad that they didn't just be like, oh, it was just part of Hurley in a mental institution's mind. I'm so glad that didn't happen. Hurley says to Sayid that there are rules, and that should have been my clue that Hurley ends up taking over the island and that Jack dies. But I didn't think that, and I think that the whole Flash Sideways thing was something that Hurley created. I know Christian says it's something they created together to move on, but I think Hurley was probably the instigator of this, because he becomes the new Jack/Jacob, and he does what he does best, according to Ben, and he helps people move on, and I liked that. I like to think that Desmond and Kate and Sawyer and Miles and Richard and Frank and Claire all stayed kind of connected after they got off the island. Desmond says something to Kate when they're in the car together at the beginning in the Flash Sideways that makes me think that maybe they stayed friends and in contact after they got off the island. My one thing, and that's because I didn't want Jack to die, is what about the healing properties of the island? Shouldn't his knife wound have been healed by the healing properties of the island? Right? Locke survived a gunshot wound, even if it wasn't to a vital organ. I loved that, they went through and showed everybody kind of waking up in the Sideways world to what had happened, who they are, where, that they're dead. Charlie remembering his relationship with Claire and them coming all together, and then Sawyer and Juliet. And Sayid and Shannon, I liked it. I liked the Sayid and Shannon. I liked them as a couple on the island. Evidently, only 14 days passed between the crash of Ajira Flight 316 and Ajira Flight 316 taking off of the island at the end of the episode. How crazy is that? Just 2 weeks. So I had heard on the transmission they were talking a little bit about who David was in the Flash Sideways, what he ultimately is, because they're like, well, he doesn't really exist. I think he might be Kate's kid with Jack. Before Ajira crashed, they kind of got their groove on, assumingly, when Kate comes to him and they have after she gives Aaron to his grandmother. Maybe she got pregnant then, and then she ends up living with this kid. I feel like there's so much more that I want to talk about that I just can't. Leslie and I will probably be together soon, so we might do another episode where we talk together about the end and maybe the whole series. I don't know for sure. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, and since it's a 2.5-hour episode, I just it's kind of daunting to just kind of pick pieces out and stuff, and I tried to take some notes while I was rewatching it the second time, and it's hard to talk, to get everything in. So I just kind of wanted to say that I really love the episode. I do plan on talking about it a little bit more in depth, possibly, with Leslie. But those were kind of the points that I wanted to make. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
We're gonna need to watch that again.
Because if Jack had lived, then Hurley couldn't have been in charge of the island, and there couldn't be some sort of awesome spin-off in the works, I am so sure. No, I don't think there is a spin-off in the works, but a girl can dream, right?